Vanessa, you went to your first dirt race.
I did.
Let us know how it was. We went to Natural Bridge Speedway, and curious your thoughts. Everyone's curious about your thoughts.
I had a really great time. It was beautiful. Driving up there, the views at the track, it's basically in like a little valley kind of between mountains. It's absolutely gorgeous. Made the sunset amazing.
Golden
it just
hour
made
was
the whole
perfect.
night really special because it was such a unique, beautiful view. So that, just aesthetically speaking, loved that. But I told John is that dirt racing and asphalt racing are like Mexican Spanish versus Spain Spanish. If you speak Spanish, you will understand. They're the same. I studied Spanish in college. They're the same but different, right? There are nuances that change things, important nuances, but it's still very enjoyable regardless of if you're mostly a fan of asphalt or mostly a fan of dirt. The nuances that I enjoyed about dirt was the biggest one is just that it's so much more chill.
In what ways?
Like everybody was just chilling. Everybody was chilling. I have been to enough races with John, local tracks, NASCAR tracks, all that stuff, where there is like a anticipation, panic almost in the air before races on asphalt tracks, which I totally get it, right? That's the job. But it just felt much more laid back at the dirt track, which isn't, all of the differences aren't necessarily better or worse. I just enjoyed them. And it was interesting. It was like a really interesting change of pace. I think also leading up to going to the dirt race, John and I had a lot of conversations I had a lot of questions about dirt racing and about the history of dirt racing, and I could feel the grassroots vibes of dirt racing. And I found that particularly compelling when John was telling me about the history of dirt racing. So I very much enjoyed kind of seeing that in action at the dirt track. Even when he did the invocation, other tracks where he's done the invocation, super enjoyable. We loved it, but it was much more high intensity in terms of like him being there at a certain time, making sure he was handed off the right way, people quadruple checking his name. Like it was just really, really intense. And also like when he has done the invocation at other tracks, low key, I felt in the way when I was filming him. But this time it was just like so chill. Like we just went to the tower and then he did it and it was done. And I was like, okay, bye.
What else was new or different from your experience about dirt?
I mean, obviously the dirt was different. When we walked across the track to the infield, I was really fascinated about how firm the track still felt. It was like super packed down. I mean,
at this point, all the hot laps and heat races had been run. Like we went down for some of the races, and so it's like pretty packed at that point.
Yeah. So I was like, I mean, if I had a blindfold on, I would think I was walking across asphalt because it was like pretty intense. I know it's different as a driver, but just walking across it, I was kind of fascinated by how firm it still felt. The dust and stuff going around was fascinating to me. John had packed me protective glasses. I wore those. I did have a little bit of like congestion in the couple of days following. So, just note to self for next time, I will hydrate more and just expect it. Like it's fine, but it was definitely a new experience.
Also, it was not nearly as dusty as many tracks I've been to. So
yeah, so I think it was a good warm up because we talked about that on the way home.
Yeah.
I liked that you got to see the entire arc of the driver's experience. On asphalt tracks, they're doing qualifying and stuff like that, a day or two before, or like that morning. But we got to watch all of it from end to end, from qualifying to heat races to the actual like big events, to see kind of the journey of each driver, which was just a very new experience and really fascinating. I don't have the patience or the desire to go and sit through qualifying with John when, there's races happening locally that we go to. But it was kind of cool to see it happen. And when it started, when like the qualifying and stuff happened, John was off doing stuff. I was sitting in my chair, relaxing.
I was getting some content behind the scenes.
And I texted him and I was like, I don't understand what's happening right now. And he was like, this is just qualifying. I'm like, oh.
But they're like races, which is different, right?
It's very different.
Versus the asphalt where it's like single lap, single car qualifying typically.
I love the small cars on asphalt. It was less exciting on dirt for me, mostly because I think it's more challenging to drive those on dirt. And so it made it harder to get momentum. And when the cars, like, when they had a caution, restarting was just such a chore.
It was a pill.
So that was kind of new and different. The last couple of races had so many cars. It was really cool. And
the field for the late models, one had like 18, the other I think had 24. So like pretty full fields.
But the last one was like 30 something.
No, it was 24.
Are you sure?
They had 37 show up, but not all advanced.
Okay. Well, I thought it was really cool when they did the fireworks and what's it called?
Four wide salute.
The four wide salute.
I like that a lot.
I was like, I thought it was so cool. And then I like tried to pull out my phone to take a picture of it and I missed it. That was really cool. I've never seen that before. And John told me that happens at most dirt tracks.
A lot of dirt tracks do that. In my experience.
That was super interesting. I thought that was awesome. I was like, do they rehearse that? Like, how does that? Because like that's a lot of moving parts. And so we talked a little bit about that. Chat, if you know how that happens and comes to be, I'm fascinated. Like I'm about to go down a serious rabbit hole about it because it was so cool. I also just want to give a shout out to everyone at Natural Bridge. Everyone was so kind to us. from like the people who were working there to like the people who were commentating and getting John set up for the invocation to the people that we sat next to, where everyone was just so kind. I remembered another thing that I wanted to
and there's
comment
one
on.
thing I had for you.
The fans were wild, and I love the drama. Give me the drama every day. I love the drama. The wags were going crazy. We were in the infield for a couple races, and I wasn't even watching the cars. I was watching the wags. They were losing their minds, rightfully so. The racing moms were losing their minds, like, and even when I was sitting up in the grandstands area, like, there was little kids who were losing their minds. There were people trash talking each other. It was like kind of the vibes that we got at Bowman Gray, maybe slightly less intense than Bowman Gray. Bowman Gray is like a totally different beast, but
similar,
it was giving similar vibes. Like, kids were freaking out, yelling at people, trash talking people. At Bowman Gray, we literally saw like babies flipping people off. So I really liked that it was basically like an amphitheater in the grass, like where there was all of these like different levels where you could sit on, and you could bring your folding chair. John and I are super open about this, but I have a lot of chronic health conditions that lead to like chronic pain. It makes it really uncomfortable for me to sit in certain positions for long periods of time, and so grandstands can be hard for me to sit in because
even with like a chair back, even with cushion, that's still kind of hard. And so Vanessa got to sit in like
so John set me up. John set me up with like my little hammock chair that I sat in. I was super comfortable. I just liked that there was such accessible seating options and a lot of different options.
Yeah, you liked
I think that was
options.
the biggest thing. Even like on the other side, there was a lot of tailgating options. There were other grandstands on the other side. Like, no matter how you like to experience a race, there was an option for you. And even sitting with my chair, like people had told John that sitting with, like, a lot of people bring lawn chairs to sit in for these races, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to want to sit in a lawn chair because I like to be high up so I can see as much as possible. And I also didn't want to be up close because I knew that I was going to be in the splash zone, as it were. So having the option to sit in a chair that was pretty high up and still get a really solid view, 10 out of 10. I loved that. And it just added to kind of the unique experience at Natural Bridge.
Final thoughts?
10 out of 10. Would go again if we get VIP passes again. I really enjoyed it, and I thank you to everyone who commented about what to wear, what to bring, how to prepare, because that really, really helped me.